Welcome back to the capsON Sports Podcast with your host, I think third week in the row, Nick Tobias, brought to you by, I think it is the third week in a row. Is it the third week in a row? 1, 2, 3, maybe? I'm going to assume it's the third week in a row. We're going for a fourth this week. I got my fellow capsON Sports teammates here. We got Tyler Blumenstick, and apparently I got moderately large Tony.
It's a good day. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was pepperoni Tony. So this week I'm a moderately large.
I didn't even notice that.
So
did not even notice your pepperoni Tony. Want to give a shout out to Mr. Sam Meehan, the fourth member here. He got his wisdom teeth taken out, and he's a little smacked off of some Percocets.
Legally,
prescribed.
Of course.
Prescribed. He's got a couple holes in his mouth, but he'll be doing all right. I'll be shouting out Sammy's picks throughout the week. Throughout the podcast for the week. Shout out Andy last week filling in. Well, I guess I'll start with Andy last week. Fill-in Andy gave us a solid 2 and 3. Tough week to be an Andy, I'll tell you that.
That's solid. I'm doing good. I'm doing a good job.
I mean, that's a lot better than Stick did last week. Stick came in last, 1 and 4.
Shocker.
What is going on? Shocker. What is going on, Stick? Can you enlighten me on what's going on over here?
I don't really have a good answer for you, if we're being honest. I'm 13, 21, and 1 on the year, 38%. It's pretty bad.
I'd rather hear that percentage than your record.
I'm in a season-long office pool. Well, it's on officefootballpools.com, and it's a pick 'em for every single game against the spread every week. I'm 51 and 55, which picking every single game on the slate, I'm still doing better than I am giving you my 5 key picks every single week. So, look, I mean, I got to figure it out. I got to tune it down. Once I get into this podcast mode, I got to pick the 5 games that are actually winners, unlike I've been doing.
All right. Well, after hearing all those excuses,
they weren't excuses. It's just
shame I don't really
got honest truth.
Next up, Mano last week, 2 and 3, 1 better than Stick. That's all right. Bringing you to 19, 14, and 2 for the year at a 56 percentage. Not too bad. You're still hanging on in first. Very slim margin. You had a big lead before. I'm creeping up on you.
No.
Sam, who isn't represented here, 3 and 2 last week, bringing him to a 43%. Slowly crawling out of the basement. And then I also went 3 for 2 last week. 3 and 2, bringing me up to a 53%. Now I was talking about this a little bit before we started. Me, Sam, and Andy all kind of got robbed on this Atlanta game. Atlanta won by 2 instead of 3, and that really kind of hurt the soul. And then New Orleans, big Monday night winning by 3 instead of a nice 4.5. Man, that one hurt.
Yeah, that might have been the single worst game of football I've ever seen in my life. So it's upsetting, but that's what happens when you bet on Geno Smith and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Geno Smith's a hard person to put your money on.
Yeah, guess who's doing it again though? This guy.
Can't believe you're doing that.
I'm a Geno believer. It's Geno Hive.
Geno Hive. All right. Well, let's get into some action. We're gonna start with Thursday night. We're recording this Wednesday night, Wednesday the 27th, roughly 7 p.m. And coming out the news with Green Bay Packers losing out on Devontae Adams. Alan Lazard is not playing. There's a good chance. I think they said MVS is still on the IR. They have up until 4 p.m. tomorrow to activate him. He's traveling with the team. Who knows if he's playing? But Aaron Rodgers without, his 2 top 2 wide receivers, a couple players on defense, which they've been gone. They've been hurt all year. Very shoddy defensive crew at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals getting Chandler Jones back on defense, but losing out on J.J. Watt. Arizona home favorites -6. Total set at 51. Mano, you're the only one that's got a pick on this. I guess you're very confident. I was more confident in that 3.5. 6. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think this feels like one of the games where Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any weapons to throw to, and he just keeps. Well, he doesn't. First of all, have any weapons to throw to. He's going to keep trying to force it to Tanya, and he's going to try to force it to Randall Cobb, and it's just not going to work out for him. And I think the Cardinals' defense is going to be able to limit their opportunities. Right? If they're able to, they're going to try to run the ball, and you can only do that so much before the game gets a little bit out of hand. I think the Cardinals are primed here to kind of blow them out here on a Thursday, which is a little upsetting because this had the makings of a really good Thursday night game. And I don't think we've been necessarily blessed with the with the primetime games that we've gotten so far. And this week is going to be no different. But I like Arizona -6 here. I think Kyler Murray is going to kind of pop against this Packers team. So -6, lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because this was lined up to be one of the best Thursday night, if not the best Thursday night game of the year. I saw a couple stats before, I think earlier today or yesterday, about Aaron Rodgers on Thursday night, how he has not failed to cover the spread on Thursday nights his whole career. And he's also actually better against the spread without what's his face, Devontae Adams. But I don't have the sources right now, so I can't confirm nor deny that is a real source. I know I saw it, but I don't have it in front of me. Anyway, that's Thursday night. Let's get into Sunday. First 1:00 game. The slumping Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta home favorites -3, total set at 46. Carolina is expected to start Sam Darnold after benching him last week against the New York Football Giants. Matt Rule said it was hope to spark the team, which I don't really know how PJ Washington is going to spark a team.
PJ Walker.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking basketball. PJ Walker is going to spark a team, but I guess when you're down 20, you'll try anything. Atlanta off of a good win last week in Miami, playing back home. I can tell you Sam and Mano are on the same side. I was on the same side, but I couldn't do it again this week. So Mano, tell me why we think the home team's going to take it. Is Matty Ice, is he getting hot?
Yeah, I think that offense is really starting to click, right? They kind of sputtered, and understandably, they got a new head coach, a new coaching staff there. They're really starting to get the ball to their best player in this Kyle Pitts. Not a lot of Mike Davis. They're using more Cordell Patterson, using him and, actually running the ball, putting him out wide in sets. But this is more of a bet against the Carolina Panthers. I don't think they're particularly that good. Sam Darnold has crashed back to earth. Like you said, they put in PJ Walker. Like that's a dude that played in the XFL that just took maybe some better drives away from Sam Darnold. But yeah, I think 3 on the 3 at home. So what? This is basically a pick 'em, but Atlanta's getting 3 points because they're a home team. I think Atlanta's a much better team. They're hot right now. Well, maybe not hot, but they're better right now. And Carolina's just not as good as them. So easy Atlanta here.
Yeah, I like Atlanta. I think Carolina lost a couple key defensive players. I don't know the word on Stephon Gilmore for the Carolina Panthers. I know there was a chance he was going to play last week against the Giants. I don't know if they're going to activate him this week, but it's always a possibility, something to keep in mind as you guys, as our listeners are sifting through lines on an early Sunday morning or Saturday night. All right, next 1:00 game, a garbage game. We got the smoking hot, arguably the best AFC team or the best offense in the AFC, the Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the New York Mike White-led football Jets. Cincinnati, 9.5 point favorites on the road. Total set at 43.5. Mano and Stick, you guys are both on the same team. What are we thinking here? Is 9.5? I think under 10 is a good number. I'm surprised it isn't at 11 or 12. To be honest with you, with the backup quarterback for the Jets who has yet to have an offensive snap professionally.
Go ahead, Stick.
It'll get to 11 or 12. And that is exactly why I both put this on my spreadsheet for the pick for the podcast and placed the bet immediately when I first saw this. Look, the Jets have been absolutely lifeless. Zach Wilson, honestly, as mediocre as he's played through the first couple of games of his rookie season before getting hurt, was probably the brightest spot of that Jets team, and he's just not going to be there. It's going to be Mike White, 5th rounder out of Western Kentucky in 2018. This line is at 9.5. It's going to creep up above that 10 number, like I said before. This is more of a play on the Bengals defense. I feel like everybody's talking about Burrow and Jamar Chase, and rightly so. Jamar Chase leads the league, or he's second now. I don't know if Cooper Kupp passed him in the afternoon slate on Sunday, but Bengals defense is going to just absolutely shut down the Jets, and the Bengals are going to put up 20 plus points at least, if not 30, possibly 40, maybe for the second week in a row. They would have covered a 9.5 number on the road against Baltimore last week, but they covered as +6 dogs. They won by 25 points. So Yeah, I think this is pretty simple. If I get burned, I get burned, but if not, whatever. I think it's a pretty good play on Cincinnati minus 9.5.
I'm in the same boat. If the Jets somehow cover this, then I'd be shocked and considered. And you just got to take that L in stride. But like we just watched the Jets get the fucking the break speed off them last week by a Patriots team that isn't like that good necessarily, but like Belichick takes pride in kicking the shit out of the Jets. So like, I don't know how you get the, shit kicked out of you like you did last week and show up in front of your home fans against a good Cincinnati Bengals team and try to, do better. I don't think that's very feasible. So I'm with you. 9.5 here for the Bengals is a lot of points and maybe not a number that they haven't seen ever. next to the Bengals. I think usually they're on the other side of it. So refreshing to see some change, some parity in the NFL. So I'm with Bengals minus 9.5 too. Get on it early because I agree it's going to go up.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think this line should be 13.5, 14.5. I mean, if you think that the Bengals are only 9.5 points better than the Jets, then for me it looks kind of fishy. I see a little bit of a letdown here where they might just run Joe Mixon the whole game. Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine just give the ball, and let Joe Burrow take it easy for, a game or two. I'm staying away from it because I'm afraid I genuinely am afraid I'm going to get burned and there's going to be a backdoor cover here at the last second. Anyway, a game that we're not going to talk about because no one has a pick on it, and I think rightfully so. Mano talked me into taking it, and I talked myself into taking my name out of here. The Los Angeles Rams on the road against the Houston Texans. Los Angeles minus 14.5, total set at 48. Houston is set to get Tyrod Taylor back, activating him off of the IR after, I believe, a hamstring or a quad injury.
They started his clock.
Yeah, it's been it's kept him sidelined for about 4 weeks, I would say. Thank God Davis Mills isn't playing anymore. Mano, you talked to me in taking the 14.5, and I'll touch on it a little bit. I kind of like Houston 14.5 here. Kind of not enough to put my name on it or put some money on it, but I kind of do. I think Ty God's got some magic, and I think they keep this close. I think Los Angeles is just going to tread some water here, just to kind of keep exactly what they did against Detroit last week. You see Detroit throw everything they had at the book. They played a Madden game against the Rams last week, and still only won by 9. But we digress. Next 1:00 game, the Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo fresh off of a bye. Buffalo minus 13.5 at home. Total set at 48. Only pick on this game is from Mr. Sam Meehan, who isn't here to represent himself and talk about his pick. But are you guys on the same side as Sam, you think?
I feel like if I had to be, I but I'm not, because the line's just a little bit big. Tua threw for over 400 yards last week. So like, I don't know. I feel like 13.5, the Bills coming off a bye, they should be able to cover the number. But then again, coming off a bye, you could either trend up, you can trend downwards. So on the off chance that they don't take a step forward or play as they have been playing through the first couple of years this year, or first couple of weeks this year, then they should cover it. But other than that, I'm just not touching a double-digit spread coming off a bye when you just don't really know. So,
I mean, I think Sam's on the right side of the spread. I mean, not only are they coming off a bye, but they're coming off a bye at home. It's not like they have to travel across time zones or anything like that. I see. This is a game where I think this spread should be 9.5, and I think the Jets game should be 13.5. So that's why I look at it. It's a little weird to me. Tua, you mentioned Tua 400 yards. I think he had 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yep. So his numbers look good, but I don't know if you're watching him play. His decision making, wow.
I feel like that's been a given. Like ever since
poor.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Tua's decision making has been poor all season. And any Dolphins fans, any new NFL fans out there who think, Tua is some sort of an answer or some sort of, epiphany that the Dolphins got. I think they got to, take a step back. Brian Flores has gone, obviously gone on tape and got on the media saying Tua's their guy. We're not trading for Deshaun Watson. But I think I would rather take Deshaun Watson over Tua any day.
Even still, they're in the news like every day with this Watson stuff, whether the trade's going to happen or not. Like it's been confirmed. It's been rejected. They agreed on terms, but not until Watson his legal issues, figure out like I feel like as a player, like you can say you tune yourself out to that, but they're asking him questions about it like every single day. They asked him today, like, do you feel wanted here in Miami? And he said, I think he said like, I don't not feel wanted or something like that. Like, what is it like? What does that mean for like a guy, like your name is in the news because your replacement is coming and you're expected to go play the Bills on the road?
Yeah, you could get slacked.
I think Sam's on the right side of this too. And then, if there are other dudes in the locker room reading that too, and they're maybe thinking like, oh wow, we can get Deshaun Watson, like legal stuff aside, like that dude's better than Tua. Like,
yeah, you think Will Fuller doesn't want to get the ball thrown to him from Deshaun Watson again and just have?
I think Will Fuller just wants to get on the football field. To be honest with you,
he does it to himself. He does it to himself. He keeps taking PEDs. I mean, he's hurt now, but like,
and then he purposely gets hurt.
When he's not hurt, he's taking PEDs.
All right, so we're gonna skip on to the next game, next 1 o'clock game. We got actually not even arguably, the worst team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly -3, total set at 48. Apparently, Stick is buying into Dan Campbell's crying on camera.
Yes, I am.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it didn't make a difference 2 weeks ago. And again, they threw.
I came out and ran like 2 fake punts. Who cares? Everyone lost. Who cares? You lost by 9.
They still
lost by what?
They tried. When I tell you this Detroit team tried everything they possibly could to beat the Rams, and they still lost by 9. They still
and I don't
lost
blame
by
them.
9.
I would do the same thing too. They should just not punt. There's like a college football team that just doesn't punt. I guess they just go for it on 4th down. Just do that. So Matt Stafford after the game was like, I'm still rooting for you guys. Like, fuck out of here. No, you're not.
So the Stick, since you're on Detroit and I'm on Philly, so I'll preface that before we keep going. Detroit this season, this is oh god, Detroit has trailed by double digits late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter every game except last week 1. They trailed by 24, then 18, then 13, then 21, then 10, then 31, and then they trailed by 9 last week against the Rams. They're, oh my god, net yards per play 31st in the NFL. Offensive EPA 27th, defensive EPA 27th.
Keep it coming. Go ahead.
Dan Campbell cries and nothing gets done. If you're going to give me the Baltimore argument, Marquise Hollywood Brown should have caught 3 touchdowns and he didn't. If you're going to give me the Minnesota Vikings argument, the Vikings should have blown the doors off of them, but
they should have, but they didn't. And they were playing the Lions both times. Those little anecdotes that you're dropping here, or analogies.
Yes, no. I'm not going to be talking about analogies involving the Houston Texans when we're talking about the Detroit Lions.
That's a good point, but I am on the Lions, and I'm on the Lions +3, +3.5, whatever you can find them on. They're hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, like Nick said. The Eagles are not a good team. The Eagles are 2-5. The Lions are 0-7. You're telling me that the Eagles at 2-5 deserve to be held at such a much higher standard than the Lions? Fine.
Yes.
If you believe that, I can't argue that. I can't argue that. I don't care.
Are you kidding me?
I don't care. They're 4-3 against the spread. They play hard. They just played the Rams.
They're 4-3 against the spread because they have double-digit spreads every week.
They're at home. They're playing Philly. Philly sucks. Miles Sanders is out. They don't give the ball to him anyways. They only give it to Jalen Hurts, which this is a story for another day, but people need to stop drafting Miles Sanders high in fantasy football because he sucks and he doesn't get the ball. But regardless, Detroit's going to win this week, but I'm taking the 3 points.
They just don't give him the ball.
Fine, but Detroit's winning this week against Philly, but I'll take the 3 points. Let's hear your side. Come on.
The Detroit Lions are the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, they're going to win a game.
Their defense is atrocious. You trust Jared Goff. Okay. You trust Jared Goff, Khalif Raymond, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't really know why.
Don't disrespect Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You conveniently leave out DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, the 2 best players on that offense. So
shouldn't be running the ball when you're down 25.
There you go.
You're not going to be down 25 at any point in this game.
Are you kidding me? Stick? Are you okay?
I don't even want to give your pick on the Eagles if you're so confident. Let's hear it. Come on.
Philly's the better team. Philly's by far the better team. They have the more athletic quarterback who can make plays through the air and on the ground. Granted, Jalen Hurts hasn't been the best quarterback in the league, but he doesn't have to be the best quarterback in the league to beat the worst team in the league, the worst defense in the league. Okay. Obviously, Philly doesn't have that great of a defense, but again, you don't need much when you're playing the Detroit Lions. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? When you're playing the worst team,
look at the Los Angeles Rams offense and what they were able to do or lack of last week.
Yeah, because they didn't care. Because they knew they're going to beat the
Oh,
Bills
they didn't
off them
care.
anyway.
You're right. True.
Okay.
NFL football team
All right.
playing one of 18 games a year didn't care when they showed up to play. Okay, sure. Let's move on. What do you think?
I'd be all over Philly here.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Three is a gift, and it's not even Halloween yet.
It's a gift
Thank
until
you.
the gift gets ripped right back on Sunday afternoon.
So who's home here? Is it
Detroit like it.
Detroit?
Otherwise, I would not
So
be
they
honest.
are 22 and they're projected to score 22 and a half points. Well, per FanDuel. I don't think they get to 14. I think they're going to be sitting at 10.
What part of Philly's defense?
All they do is run I formation. They run I formation the whole time. What do you do with I formation?
They're going to beat Philly.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, next 1 o'clock game, because my blood pressure is getting at a dangerous level. I'm the one who's got to pick on this. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the slow Pittsburgh Steelers, on the road against the Cleveland Browns division matchup. Cleveland -3.5 at home. Total set at 42.5. Baker Mayfield is expected to play this game after being told he's got to be out 4 months with a broken shoulder.
He's not gonna play.
I don't think he's gonna play. I kind of hope he doesn't play.
Tough guy, Baker.
I'm all over Cleveland. I grabbed him at -3 because I want the hook. I think Cleveland's by far the better team. They proved it last week on Thursday against Denver. They really should have won that game last week by more than 10 points. Case Keenum actually looked very good in that offense with Stefanski. I mean, he didn't really look like a backup. He looked like a starter. Granted, they probably didn't throw the playbook at him, that week. But I think even if it's Case Keenum, I kind of feel more comfortable than Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb is expected to return also for the Cleveland Browns, who's just going to run over the Pittsburgh defense. Pittsburgh can't keep up offensively. We've seen it all year. Big Ben, I think, is on the decline. I was kind of hoping Chase Claypool would be on the right side of the trends this year and get a nice breakout season, but I haven't seen it from him. And that's really it. I think Cleveland's by far the better team. They're one of the better teams in the AFC. I think Cleveland at home is -3 is pretty good here for me. Stick, what do you got, dude? Since you're all over the place today.
I'm not just all over the place today. I've been all over the place this entire season.
Yeah, that's true. I know you don't have a pick on this, but I got to hear your talk.
I would stay away because I still think the Steelers have that little bit of oomph to them that they can show at any point. So they freak me out a little bit, especially against a beat up Browns team. But the Browns defense is going to be completely
Browns
fine.
are getting healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Browns are getting healthy. Don't get it twisted. Browns are getting healthy.
Chubb's coming back. I'm still waiting for Kareem Hunt to come back for fantasy purposes. I don't think the quarterback play, like you noted, makes much of a difference because they don't let Baker Mayfield get out of the pocket and sling it as much as I'm sure he would like to, because I wouldn't do the same. I wouldn't do it either if I had Chubb and Hunt in the background or in the backfield. But Keenum arguably throws a better ball than Baker Mayfield.
Not arguably, absolutely. Again, I feel more. I kind of hope Case Keenum plays because I would rather have Case Keenum back there in that offense, 100%.
It's getting hot over here.
That's not really that steamy of a take, I don't think. I'm not going to go shoe and say that Case Keenum is a full-on better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, because if that's the truth, he would have his job. But I think in terms of getting the ball where it's got to go in the playbook that Case Keenum is going to have to run, I think he does a better job than Baker Mayfield does on a normal week. So, really
to that point too, I don't know if I'd go that far, but to that point too, like Kevin Stefanski was Case Keenum's quarterback coach in Minnesota when they won 13 games for one reason or another. So like, in most situations, like your starting quarterback comes out, your backup comes in, and you're like, shit, we got to run the ball or we got to make life easy for him. I don't think the playbook changes that much from Baker Mayfield to Kevin Stefanski. I think they have a lot from Baker Mayfield to Case Keenum because of that Kevin Stefanski connection. I think he knows exactly what he's going to get out of Case Keenum, and I think Kevin Stefanski is one of the better offensive coaches in the league and can probably game plan to put him in a spot to succeed. So,
yes, sir. Roll
plus
brownies.
Pittsburgh's not that good. So
Pittsburgh's not that good. Their offense is non-existent. But roll brownies. All right, next 1 o'clock game. Nobody's got a pick on this game, and I think it's for rightful reasons. We got the Chicago Bears at home at Soldier Field, fresh off of an absolutely demoralizing loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago at home against the San Francisco 49ers. San Fran -3.5 on the road. Total set at a measly 39.5. San Fran's expected to start Jimmy G. They still don't have George Kittle, And I don't think Deebo Samuel's practiced all week, but he's probably expected to play. For Chicago, still no David Montgomery. It's a Khalil Herbert show in the backfield.
He's still good though.
He is fantastic. Virginia Tech alumni. Shout out, gang. Anyway, nobody's got to pick on this game. I think it's for rightful reasons. So I'm just going to skip on to the next one because I think that one's disgusting. Next game, last 1 o'clock game, probably one of the better 1 o'clock games, if not the best one we have on here. The Tennessee Titans, the red hot, arguably the best team in the AFC. The Tennessee Titans on the road at the Indianapolis Colts. Right now we have this line at Tennessee -1. This line has flip-flopped back and forth, I think, for the past 3 days. Total set at 49.5. Sam and I are on the same side here. We're both on Indy, and I am very skeptical with this Indy pick. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is not really a game that I feel confident in picking. My name's on it, and I would rather it not be, but it is. I want to say Tennessee's going to flop eventually, but I don't really know. I got to say, Indy has impressed me the past couple of weeks, especially Carson Wentz has looked more confident in the pocket, more confident calling the plays and running the offense. Their defense has kind of stepped up. They played a tough game last week, in San Fran in a monsoon, which kind of impressed me. I think Tennessee has a rough time. I don't really know why. I think if they're missing wide receivers, especially AJ Brown, I don't think Julio Jones is that big of a loss for them because he's not that big part of he's not a big part of their game plan. Granted, he's a phenomenal athlete. I think if they miss AJ Brown, it's a big hit for them. But they're going to give it to Derrick Henry every single time, like they always do. And Tennessee seems to have the play action going for him again, since running backs don't matter. Indy, however, is. I think they're on fire, and I think they're ready to surprise the league if they cop this W. And I hope Sammy's on this side for the same reason. I know he's not here, but we're having a little bit of telepathy right here. We're thinking somehow Carson Wentz is going to pull this off. I'm afraid to ask what you guys think because I'm afraid I'm not going to like the answer.
I don't know what to think, to be completely honest with you. Like these teams are both like these might be the most Jekyll and Hyde teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know who is on Tennessee's defense other than like Janoris Jenkins. And if Janoris Jenkins is the only dude on a defense, you can, all right. And Bud Dupree. If Janoris Jenkins is the first name that comes to your mind, he's probably not doing a good job. And he's not. Like this team lost to the Jets like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Like 4, I think.
4 still, you lost to the Jets. I don't know. And I gotta see more Colts to believe it. I gotta see more Carson Wentz to believe it, but they got a dog in Michael Pitt.
Yes, they do. And Jonathan Taylor too. I mean, you want to talk about a stud workhorse running back who has proven himself in the collegiate level and then again in the NFL level. Quite impressive. Indy's defense is nothing to scoff at either.
The Titans have won 3 of the last 4 matchups that these teams have played, dating back to December 1st, 2019.
Yeah, well,
if you want to go further than that, it's actually tied. It's actually pretty even.
Well, listen, I'm going to err with the side that I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan, and hopefully the forehead is with me. Forehead's with me in this pick. All right, Sunday 4:00. The Jacksonville Jaguars, fresh off of a bye and their first win in 20 games. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road against the Seattle Seahawks at home again. Seattle -3.5. Total set at 43.5. Seattle has looked atrocious since Russell Wilson has gone out with a finger injury. Geno Smith seems like he has trouble throwing the ball 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, doesn't really seem to know his place in the pocket. And it seems like Pete Carroll's just going to keep running the ball until I would do it too if your quarterback didn't know how to throw a football. So that's
Pete Carroll's going to get himself fired after this year.
Pete Carroll's kind of asking for it, and maybe he wants to go back to USC. I don't know. Jacksonville. Jacksonville's red hot. Excuse me, I shouldn't even say red hot. They copped their first career.
They won a game.
And of course, it wasn't even in the confines of the United States of America. It had to be overseas. T-Law actually looked pretty good. I got to give it to him. And that's the future facing NFL right there. Mano and I are on separate sides. I'm making this pick, and this is an honorary Andy pick right here. I'm thinking of my friend that's not with us today. I'm taking Jacksonville plus 3.5 on the road. I think Trevor Lawrence has found a little magic, and I think the win last week, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, gave a little spark to this team. I think Trevor Lawrence has a little confidence that he can make some plays. He can make some game-changing plays, not just some regular plays. Because if you remember at the end of the game when they played Miami in London, he made a couple huge primetime throws that set them up for that game-winning field goal, and he did it with confidence too, rolling outside of the pocket, stepping up, play action. And you see him getting all hype on the sidelines when his defense makes a couple big stops. I kind of like Jacksonville here, not just because of the Andy pick, and I've kind of been a side hustle Jacksonville fan, but I think Jacksonville has what it takes to kind of give Seattle a run for their money. Seattle's defense hasn't been good all season, and granted, New Orleans couldn't really do anything last week. It was a really wet, rainy game, and Jameis kind of sucks in general. Shout out Sammy for not being here. Jameis sucks. I think Jacksonville has a little magic in them, and you're going to give me plus 3.5 on, a little over a field goal. And I think if a field goal is what it's going to take to win this game, I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence and the Goldilocks on the road.
Yeah, listen, it's not an easy take, but I feel like 3.5 points here is almost gifted. Seattle's at home, and they haven't won at home this year, right? So first time for everything, right? Jacksonville won for the first time in 20 some odd games 2 weeks ago. Can't lose when you're on a bye.
For the first time this week.
Yeah, well,
dude, come on. Did you have to do that?
Sneak it in there.
Some friendly banter. Some friendly banter.
But I think after what you saw last week against the Saints, like, you have to change the game plan, right? Like, even though it's a Geno Smith, like, you have to throw the ball. Like, you have better athletes than ever. Are you raising your hand because you have a question?
No, I have a comment. You just said Pete Carroll's trying to get himself fired. So you think he's going to change the game plan?
No, I don't. But I think you have to. You have to, like, throw the ball. Like, you have DK Metcalf. Like, DK Metcalf is probably a better corner than, like, most dudes on that Jacksonville safety, Jacksonville secondary. I think DK can, get those little slant routes that he does, take it to the house, get those go routes, take it to the house. Like, even though it's Geno Smith, like, you can't run the ball 17 times with, I don't know, your Travis Homers, your Alex Collins,
DJ Dallas,
your DJ Dallases, right? Like, it's just not going to work. And if they do that, then yeah, I would probably take Jacksonville to win, because they are probably playing to win, where Seattle feels like they're playing to lose. But I don't know, after getting embarrassed on Monday, I think you got to come out and change it up a little bit, throw the ball against this Jacksonville team. And if they do that, it's the 7 God season. So
give me a break pick here.
Tie-break pick on this one?
Yeah.
I would have to go Seattle, I think.
Okay.
Gun to my head.
We're moving on we're moving on. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Anyway,
next 4 o'clock game, the New England Patriots, fresh off of a 54-point offensive outburst at the Los Angeles Chargers, fresh off of a bye. Los Angeles minus 5.5 at home. Total set at 49.
Before you go on, you see the Jets were pissed off at the Patriots for running up the score. Like, if you don't like it, don't let them score. Sorry.
That's not my.
Move on. Sorry.
The Jets are a bunch of babies, and whatever. That's besides the point. Justin Herbert, fresh off of a bye, getting a healthier Mike Williams and a healthier Keenan Allen, who I don't think practiced actually last week, a couple days ago, against the New England Patriots, who I think Mac Jones has got a little pep in his step stick.
He does. All right. So one key plan here, and it's the reason for the play. And if I get burned, much like my Cincinnati pick, I get burned.
Stick. I know what it is. Give it to me.
He saw the Los Angeles Chargers lose to the Baltimore Ravens in embarrassing fashion in week 6. With 3 of us on the Chargers spread, by the way, simply because of the fact that the Chargers were unable to stop the run. Bill Belichick is one of the best coaches in stopping your most lethal weapon. And
which is who on that offense?
On what, the Charger offense?
Yeah, who's he going to stop on that offense? Honestly,
I mean, at wide receiver, it's got to be probably Mike Williams. But then you look at Keenan Allen and you have that too. Regardless, my point is the Chargers were really unable to stop the run. And the Patriots are going to take advantage of that because Bill Belichick is one of the better coaches, like I said, in stopping one of your lethal weapons and attacking your weaknesses. Now, if you are sadly mistaken if you think that Bill Belichick did not watch that game and say, oh, look at what Lamar's doing. Look at what that entire backfield is doing to the Chargers. Now, given it is Lamar Jackson and he makes a lot of defenses in the league look like that. I just think with a 5.5-point spread here on the road as underdogs, the fact that the Patriots can control the game on the ground is going to be a big factor in that. And then they can keep this within 5.5. They're going to score their points.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hard for me to pick a side in this. I like the under because I do think New England, all they do is run the ball. 2 out of 3 downs, get 8 yards and then have Mac Jones throw a quick slant or a quick out for a first down. Can't forget about a Hunter Henry revenge game for the New England Patriots. I thought that's where you were going. Hunter Henry, former intro special for the capsON Sports podcast for anybody who's been following us since last year. Stick, you talk about Bill Belichick trying to stop the best player. You stop Keenan Allen, you have Mike Williams. You stop Mike Williams, you got Keenan Allen. Then you can't forget about Austin Eckler in the back. And you can't forget about Justin Herbert throwing the ball, an MVP candidate. So that's personally why I don't really know how I feel about this game. It's weird at 5.5. I feel like the Chargers should get at least closer to a touchdown here because I think the Chargers are by far the better team. But I think New England's ready to surprise people. That's for sure. Okay, next 4:00 game, 4:25. Reigning Super Bowl champions Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints +5 at home. Total set at 50.5. Oh boy. Sammy and Stick.
I guess I'll take the reins because
Sammy's not here. So Stick's argument for Tampa Bay is going to be a little bit stronger here, I guess.
Well, I mean, we're on opposite sides here because he decided to back his beloved Jameis Winston.
If he was here, he'd be smiling, saying Jameis.
I know he would, but when he sees this clip, he'll love it. So it's good. But he's not going to love the fact that I'm on Tampa Bay -5 here. The Saints just simply don't do much for me. We saw him on Monday night or Sunday night, rather. Which one was it?
Monday night.
Monday night.
I mean, they won the game, but weren't very good. Didn't look very good. On the other hand, the Bucs are just a very solid all-around team here. I don't even want to talk too much about this because I just think the Bucs are just that much better of a team than the Saints, but it doesn't really look like that on paper. I'm just going to ride with the Bucs -5, and then hopefully you believe me. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to believe the best team in the NFL. Saints are getting some reinforcements back offensively and defensively with a couple injured players. Second week back for Traquan Smith, one of Jameis Winston's favorite targets. And Saints just acquired Mark Ingram. I wonder if he's going to play this week. Probably not. He's probably going to pass concussion protocol before anything happens.
COVID protocol?
Yeah. Sorry, I said concussion, didn't I? I just think protocol.
Probably got to pass that too. I'd have to pass that too.
You think of protocol, it's hard not to think of concussion protocol.
Yeah.
I don't really know why this game's at 5. It seems like there's, I guess, maybe Superdome in New Orleans is why. I mean, Tom Brady spent Monday, he was on the Eli and Peyton Manning, telecast, pretty much dissecting everything the Saints did. So good luck, New Orleans. Final 4:00 game. To be fair, I wanted to put a pick on this game, and I'll put my little 2 cents in later. But we got the Washington football team on the road against the Denver Broncos. Denver -3, total set at 43.5. Mano, Teddy Two Gloves has been hurt. He's been nursing injuries to his ankle, his quad, his hammy, whatever it is, his hand. Denver's probably going to get Jerry Jeudy back, I think. Washington football team off of a tough loss to the Packers last week. They kind of hung around until the end of the third quarter when Mr. Aaron Rodgers just decided to take over. We taking the home team here in a Mile High?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ride the team playing Washington because their defense is abysmal. They're just they're not what they used to be. They're not your father's Washington football team defense. I just think Denver's a better team here. They're not great, but I feel like they're better than what they've shown. I feel like that defense has a lot of talent on it, and eventually talent is going to come around, right? Like those dudes are playing well below their average, and the coaches there are probably not sticking around much longer. So I think they're coaching for a job here too. So I think this is going to be a statement win here for Denver.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's on the Washington football team, and honestly, so am I. I think
I
these
almost
two
did it.
teams,
That was almost my 5th pick.
yeah, I
Mhm.
think both these teams have overvalued, overhyped defenses. Denver's missing possibly Von Miller, and I don't think they're going to have what's his phrase, Bradley Chubb either. I don't really, Washington. I think their game last week, they kind of really blew it against the Green Bay Packers. I believe they drove into the Packers, red zone. I would say probably 4 or 5 times. I would have to double check stats, and they only got about 3 points out of it instead of getting more. So I really think they blew the game against the Packers last week, which is kind of why I'm on Washington here. Stick, do you have a comment?
I just don't really like both of these teams. Like, I don't know what they are. I feel like they're just both very average. The Broncos are probably the better overall team with the better defense. I don't know. I mean, I'm staying away for a reason, but I almost picked Washington. I can see a case for Denver, so I'm just going to settle right back at neutral and not make a pick on it. How's that?
Oh, smart kid, but you're gonna pick Detroit. All right,
I'm going to pick all the losers.
Anyway,
but
Broncos
not
were on
this
a bye. Broncos were on a bye last week, right?
Broncos were not.
No,
on
they
the
were.
bye
they
last
played
week.
Thursday.
No, they were not. Okay.
Broncos played the Cleveland Browns last week.
Oh, you're right. They did play on Thursday. A little bit longer. They got to prepare for a little bit longer. So
just a little bit more time to get in your own head about
Yeah.
the Washington football team, the no mascot Washington football team. Anyway,
Mhm.
Sunday night, primetime Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Dallas Cowboys, fresh off of a bye. Dallas -3 on the road. Total set at 55. I don't know why the spread is the way it is. I think Dallas. I'm on Dallas here. I think Dallas is by far the better team. I don't think Minnesota is really in that close. I think Kirk Cousins has showed flashes of potential, but I think at the end of the day, Dallas is one of, if not one of the best offensive NFL teams. They're supposed to get Michael Gallup back. They're fresh off of a bye. They're getting healthy. You figure Amari Cooper needs another week to sit because he's always banged up. Looks like I think Dak tweaked his calf or his ankle, but I think they're just making excuses to give him rest for his shoulder, honestly, which is fine with me. I think Dallas is on a tear this year. It's regular season Dallas Cowboys. This is what they do every year. They go on a tear and then they make it to the playoffs and they always fall flat on their face. And it's primetime Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is going to keep up. Stick, I know you're on the total here, and I like the side that you're on. And I think that kind of plays into my pick a little bit more.
Okay, so the way I got to the over is because I wasn't really playing into your pick. Honestly, I like Minnesota here. I am taking the over, but I like Minnesota as a side a little bit better. The Cowboys are undefeated against the spread at 6-0 right now. I think the Vikings are 3-3 both against the spread and record-wise. This is a home game. It's primetime Kirk Cousins, like you said. I just feel like the Cowboys are going to hit a roadblock at some point, and both teams coming off a bye. I feel like they'll have game plans ready. They watch film. They have plays that work against the opposing defense. So that's why I took the over. I think the Cowboys are going to score, but I think the Vikings are going to be in it. This was the opening line of Dallas -3. Right now it's at Dallas -1.5. So money is coming in on Minnesota. But I'm going to ride with the over here. I think somebody definitely scores 30 and somebody definitely scores. I mean, someone's going to score 20. I was going to say somebody scores 30, someone scores 24, but that wouldn't get me my over. But nah, I think there's going to be a team in high 20s and a team in the 30s, and this is going to go over for sure.
I still have this game at -2 on BetMGM, and I know it opened at -2. I think it's right where it belongs, and I think Dallas is on the right. Whatever, Mano, you want to comment on Sunday Night Football before we move on to the worst Monday Night Football game in the history of Monday Night Football games?
No, I don't know why this is. I'm trying to figure out why this is 1.5. I don't know why Minnesota's getting
money's coming in on Minnesota, I guess.
I don't know why though. I don't know why. A little
Yeah.
sketchy. Something to keep an eye on. But I hate Kirk Cousins, so it's okay.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a little bias in there.
I'll take the Kirk Cousins
bias.
hatred when I'm against him, but when I'm for him, I don't like it. I don't stand for it.
That's my dynasty quarterback, fucking Kirk Cousins.
Terrible, just god awful. All right, Nobody's got a pick on Monday night. Actually, Mano has a pick, and that is, quote, LMAO. We got the New York Football Giants on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been beaten up, who have lost a couple tough games, who just look downright awful. Kansas City still getting 10 points. Kansas City minus 10, over under set at 52. I'm not picking this game because I firmly think the Giants cover the spread. And if I put the Giants down, they're not going to cover the spread. Obviously it's one of two things. The Giants cover or they get the doors blown off of them. I also kind of think the Kansas City Chiefs are pissed that they can't win a football game. And I think they're going to take it all out on the Giants. And I am scared. I'm not going to watch the game. I hope I'm working Monday night, so I don't have the opportunity to watch it. But I think it's going to be scary.
This is a narrative ender for the Chiefs. All the talk this week and last week is this defense isn't good, and they're not. Is Pat Mahomes has the magic worn off? Have teams figured out what they're trying to do? Is there talent on the offensive line? All that gets put to rest when you play the Giants, right? I don't know who woke up in the league office and just yeah, let's put the New York Giants, who won 6 games last year, against the Kansas City Chiefs, who almost went to the Super Bowl. No,
they signed Kenny Golladay, so they said, "Here you go."
I don't know whose idea it was, but unless they can predict the future, and they knew Pat Mahomes and company would need a get right game. But I mean, ultimately, you said it. It's 10 points, so it's either they cover the spread or they get the doors blown off of them. There's no way in between.
I mean, there really isn't in between. There's no way this is a 3-point game. There's absolutely no way this is a 3-point game. I'm nervous.
If the Giants offense was a little bit if all the weapons were there, if it was Galladay and Tony and Barkley and Shepard and Slayton and Evan Engram and all the offensive line and all things on being equal here, I'd consider it. Right? Because, why not? But I don't think the Giants are going to be able to move the ball at a pace that is going to keep up with the Chiefs. Even if the Chiefs aren't lighting the scoreboard up, right? Even if it's 17, points by halftime or something like that. Even that's a lot. Even if it's 10 points by halftime, they're going to be marching, right? And they're going to be going for it on 4th down, because they know they're better than the Giants, and that's what they're going to just do. They're going to try to put them to bed early, right? So I don't know. It comes down to the defense here, and I don't think you can take a Giants defense against Pat Mahomes. This big time get right game for the Chiefs.
Stick, you think Andy Reid is going to whoop the hell out of the Giants? He always
definitely see a situation that it happens. No, but your initial point when you first introduced this game, I agree with. I think the Giants are going to cover the spread, because the KC defense is Swiss cheese, and Daniel Jones is going to be able to do just enough.
But they can't move the ball, though. The Giants.
I agree, but it's still 10 points, and I'm going to take it.
Bro, they put 10 points. They put 10 points on the freaking on the Panthers before garbage time, before the defense just decided to freaking show up. It's.
I don't know what to tell you. It's not an official pick, but if I had to, I would go on the Giants. So
yeah,
they're going to lose 9-37.
Yeah, thank God it's scoreagami. Thank God. Hopefully,
I don't know if that would be.
Listen, maybe. Shout out our boy Zach. I know he's not going to listen to this, but if he was, I'm hoping for a scoreagami for you this Sunday for you, buddy. But I mean, personally, I don't really want to comment on that Monday night game. I think we're over and done with it. Any closing comments from the fellas in the crew?
I just need some wins. I need some wins this week. That's
my Lord. 37-9 would not be a scoreagami. The first time it happened was Bears Giants in 1941. The Bears beat the Giants 37-9. The last time it happened, it was 37-9. Eagles over the Cowboys in 2017. Yeah, the most likely scoreagami that I see is 46-0. So, yeah.
I have a hard time believing Daniel Jones is going to take the top off of a defense when they just run the ball. 3 downs, just for no reason. And then they get a
46-24, maybe,
and
maybe
then they get
likely.
a holding, then they get a holding call, and then they get a false start, and the next thing you want to do is throw your TV out a window, and you remember why you hate being a Giants fan. But it's a good thing this isn't a Giants podcast, because if it was, I probably wouldn't have a computer at this point. I'd just be throwing it out the window. All right. Well, with that note, I think we're going to wrap up week 8. Stick. Hopefully you're sitting in this chair next week.
I hope so, man. I really do.
Because you went from
It'd be a little weird if you were sitting in his chair.
That would be a lot weird, because then we would just we'd be sitting in my chair together. You went from hosting the podcast every day last year to only once this year, week 1. So you better get it. You better get it figured out.
I have full control. I just failed to do it every week, so it's okay.
You have full control of picking the right teams.
I have full control over my picks. I clearly don't have full control over picking the right teams, but we'll get there.
No, but apparently the Detroit Lions are going to fix everything for you. Okay. And that's going to wrap up our week 8 NFL betting analysis podcast thing, where we all talk about sports. Thanks for joining me. Mr. Tyler Blumenstick, Mr. Anthony Mano. Hope to see all you fellas next week. Stick, I hope you lose again, because
might happen.
Listen, man, you picked Detroit, and I just don't really understand why you even took their money line.
They're going to win the game. I promise you they'll win the game.
All right. This podcast needs to end, please. Please turn end recording. Please hit end recording.
Cut the tape.
Please cut it.